Today, I'm going to show you several ways to utilize cabbage as a delicious meal or side, whether it's the star of the show, whether you eat this one thing as a meal or as a side, it's delicious. I've made cabbage rolls before. I also like to add this to chicken stir fry, extra cabbage in my chicken caldo, or how about a classic coleslaw? All those are great. Check the description below. I will link those recipe videos if you're curious. I'm going to show you cowboy butter cabbage, which is very addictive, and quite honestly, I'm sort of hyper fixated on it. I've made it several times over the last couple weeks because it's so good, whether it's the star of the show or a side. And I'll show you other several ways to make cabbage that you might want to try. Okay, so cowboy butter cabbage. So I've already chopped, this is just a rough chop of that entire head of cabbage. Okay, so I'm going to add some cooking oil. Just a little bit. Knob of butter here. Right there, let that melt down. Okay, cabbage going in. I'm going to add a pinch of salt. And I'm going to let that cook down and kind of sweat. I'm going to give it like 5 to 7 minutes. I'm actually going to cover it with a lid right now. And I have it kind of like on a medium to low heat. Okay, so now for the cowboy butter. You'll want to, for the entire recipe, you'll work with 1 stick or 8 tablespoons of butter. I added probably a half tablespoon of butter into the cabbage. The rest is going into this little pan, and I'm going to melt that down. Let's just kind of help it along here. And this is unsalted butter. I have a little bit of, maybe like a tablespoon of red onion that I chopped. I'm going to add that in while it's melting. You don't want to use a high heat for this. You don't want the butter to burn. You want it to just gradually melt and maybe gently simmer at most, but you really want everything to become fragrant with the butter. I can't talk. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to add a heaping teaspoon, I guess, of Dijon mustard. A lot of the ratios of ingredients is to your preference and palate. Start with the teaspoon, work your way up after you taste it. That's the beauty of cowboy butter. Now I'm going to shake in some smoked paprika, like a 1/4 teaspoon. Have some crushed red pepper flakes. I'll say half teaspoon to start. I'm probably going to put a full teaspoon. And I like to add Maggi seasoning. You could also sub this with soy sauce. I do that sometimes. Maybe like a half teaspoon. Let's just continue stirring, melting. Again, nothing on high heat. I'm also going to be adding, this was 1 large clove of garlic. You can do 2 cloves. The juice of half a lemon, maybe like a tablespoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice goes into this. Now I'm going to add chives and fresh parsley. I'm going to shake that in. I'm going to leave some for garnish. And some parsley, fresh chopped parsley, like a tablespoon of each. You give that a mix. Okay, so we're going to shut off the heat. The residual heat will do the trick to get everything just fragrant. The butter is so flavorful at this point. You'll want to drink this. This is great for dipping steaks, adding to corn on the cob, baked potatoes. I love this cowboy butter sauce. It really is a go-to sauce in my house. Okay, this is done. Let it hang out. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic blend into the cabbage. As you can see, it's starting to wilt down. Just a little bit of this. I've already added a little bit of salt to it. Give that a mix. And this is almost done. If you want this mushier or cooked through more, let it go for longer. It really is up to you. Textures are really important when it comes to food. Everyone has their preference. So I'm going to let this continue cooking for another 5 minutes, and it'll probably be done for me. And then you give it a mix. And this is actually my meal. I love this. Just the same way I would eat a salad, I'm gonna eat this. It's so good. I like to finish with some shredded or shaved Parmesan cheese, some chives, and then just a little more of that. I saved some in the pan for this. Here we are. This is so good. And you don't have to garnish it with Parmesan cheese. Just as is, I could eat a whole plate of this. Today I'm going to show you how to make hot honey fried cabbage. This is perfect as a side or, in my opinion, a great meal. Here we go. So to go over the ingredients, I'm working with, this is close to 2.5 pounds of cabbage, a head of cabbage. I'm going to chop that up. I'm also going to be working with 1 small to medium onion. Here I have 2 cloves of garlic and 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. I'm also working with bacon. I'm going to chop this up, and this is 1 pound of bacon. If you have a 12-ounce package of bacon, that works as well. I'm going to be seasoning with some salt, pepper, and my Louisiana hot sauce and honey. The ratios are up to you. I'm probably going to use like a tablespoon of the hot sauce and just drizzle maybe 2 teaspoons of the honey. Okay, so first I'm going to work with the green outer leaves of the cabbage. Those are a lot more fibrous and take longer to cook. So I'm going to cut these up. I'm going to roll it and kind of chiffonade this part because it's so fibrous. If you chop it smaller than the rest of the cabbage, it kind of cooks a lot more evenly. And I will be sauteing this part of the cabbage first. Sometimes you can get a head of cabbage that does not have the green leafy part, but today I did. Okay, so now for the rest of the cabbage, I'm just going to cut around the core, and I'm just going to chop this up into like small square pieces. You can definitely chop this thinly, longer pieces. It really is up to you. I just like a chunky square piece. That works for me. Okay, so this is prepped. I have my bacon chopped, and here I have a cold pan. I did not preheat it. I'm adding the bacon in. I'm also going to add 1 cup of water. Using this method, in my opinion, renders out a lot of the bacon fat. So I'm turning on the heat, and it's going to go through stages. So first I'm going to break apart all of the chopped bacon. It doesn't look like much, but trust the process. It's going to go from this to boiling and simmering to this where the water evaporates and it's going to start getting crispy and browning. And then here you have all of that rendered bacon fat. I'm removing some of it. I want most of it in the pan because this is what I'm going to fry the cabbage in, but I will add some to my little bacon bowl there. Okay, I'm going to saute my sliced onions right into the crispy bacon and that rendered bacon fat, and I'm going to saute this until the onion becomes aromatic and translucent. By the way, I am working with a clean spoon now that the bacon is fully cooked. I don't know if you do that when you're cooking bacon or like raw pork or chicken. I do that, but I don't know if that's correct or not. It's just something I do. Anywho, sauteing the onions. Now I'm going to add the minced garlic, those 2 cloves of garlic that I minced. I'm going to add that in there, give it a quick saute, and I'm also going to add that teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. The amounts and ratios of some of these ingredients are really up to you. If you don't want a full teaspoon and you want a hint of spice, then scale it down. You don't actually have to add this, but it just adds another level of heat to this dish. So now I'm going in with the leafy part of the cabbage, and I'm going to saute that first for a couple of minutes. And things smell amazing in my kitchen. This is something that we eat a bowl of with a side of cornbread or sometimes on top of rice, and it's a meal in my house. So now I'm going to work in the rest of the cabbage. I'm going to have to do this in batches. It may look like the amount is too much for this pot, but give it time. I'm going to do it like in 2 batches. I'm going to add a little bit of salt here. Well, actually maybe like a half teaspoon. Really, you want to season this to your preference, and salt as well. I will add some pepper in there eventually, but I'm going to work this into the rest of the saute. And as the cabbage wilts down and starts to saute, I will add the rest of it. And that's how you get a whole bunch of cabbage into what appears to be a smaller pot for the amount that I chopped. So now that all of my cabbage is in the pot, I'm going to cover this with a lid, and I'm going to let it cook down over like a medium-low heat for about 5 minutes, and you can stir throughout. So now I'm going to grab my hot sauce and honey. This should be where I want it to be. Tenderness and how long you want to cook it is to your preference. I still want a little bit of texture to my cabbage. So now I'm going to add my hot sauce. I'm eyeballing. You can start with like a half tablespoon to a full tablespoon. And for the honey, again, it's to your taste. I'm just going to drizzle on maybe about 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon, and I'm going to give this a good mix, give it a taste, and I suggest you check it for salt and seasoning to your preference. So I'm just going to work this in and continue cooking for about 5 minutes, but let me show you a cornbread that I like to serve with this. For the cornbread, I'm working with Jiffy corn muffin mix. You can definitely do a scratch-made cornbread. I do that all the time, but I'm going for easy today. So 1 box of store-bought cornbread mix, and now I'm going to add some pickled jalapenos. I didn't even measure, maybe a tablespoon or 2 of chopped pickled jalapenos. And here I have about 5 to 6 ounces of black pepper smoked white cheddar. You could use sharp cheddar cheese, Colby Jack cheese, and the amount is really up to you. That's what I'm working with today, and this is actually my favorite cheese. It's a black pepper smoky cheddar. I'm going to go in with 1 egg, and I'm just going to add buttermilk in place of the milk that goes into this box mix, and I'm just going to give that a really good mix. I didn't measure the buttermilk, but the instructions call for a 1/3 cup of whole milk or regular milk. With buttermilk, it is thicker, so you might need to add a little more, and I'm just adding it until the batter comes together. I also want to mention, I think Jiffy corn muffin mix is already sweet, but sometimes there are those of you that like it sweeter, so add more sugar if you like. So in a buttered cast iron skillet, or you can use a buttered 8-inch cake pan, I'm going to add all of the batter. And I preheated my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake this until it is done. Somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes. Should do the trick. My cornbread is ready, and everything is hot and ready to serve. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to carefully remove this from the oven, and I'm going to place it on the countertop. And like I stated earlier, use your favorite homemade from scratch cornbread recipe that also works. I was just going for easy. So I'm going to take a little bit of softened butter, and I'm just going to spread that all over the top. And this pan holds residual heat very well, so you can kind of hear it sizzle as it hits the edge of the pan. But this cornbread is so good, and it's so simple to make. The combination of the pickled jalapenos and that smoky cheddar is just perfect with this meal. And now I definitely need a slice of this cornbread. It is hot, but that's okay because everyone is ready to eat as usual and they want a bite. So that's what I'm going to serve with this delicious hot honey fried cabbage. I've got your next comfort meal, baked firecracker chicken and delicious cabbage steaks. This is going to be good. Let me show you how I make it. I'm working with bone-in chicken drumsticks and chicken thighs with skin on, bone-in. It's about 4 pounds, and I'm going to start with about 2 to 3 tablespoons of honey mustard. You could use regular yellow mustard, but I wanted to go for honey mustard. Now some garlic and herb seasoning blend. It's like salt, lemon pepper, garlic, dried parsley, and pepper. It's so good. Here I'm adding some smoked paprika. Again, I'm eyeballing everything. Season the chicken how you like. I always like to say that. Use what you have. Salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. That is a very simple way to season the chicken with the honey mustard. Now I'm just going to add some more smoked paprika, some more of that garlic herb blend. I'm also going to add some granulated chipotle pepper powder. It's so good. It adds a little bit of a kick and some smoky seasoning into the mix. Just keep combining it. Now I'm going to add some onion powder. And I want to just reiterate, season things how you like. The flavor profile of baked chicken is really up to you. Salt and pepper works. It's very simple. Okay, so this is combined. I'm going to place it on a baking sheet and sort of arrange it in a way. It's going to be like a tight squeeze on this baking sheet because I'm going to simultaneously bake my cabbage steaks along with this, so I'm using a smaller baking dish. But okay, so once you arrange the chicken on your baking sheet, what I'm doing is going to just go over the seasonings again, the onion powder, that smoked paprika. I'm also going to add more of that garlic, salt, pepper, lemon pepper blend. And here I have 2 small onions that I cut into just large chunks. I'm going to wedge those in between all the chicken. You'll want to preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And this chicken, it's not very cold, so it's going to take like 45 to 50 minutes to bake. But if you're working with colder chicken, it could take longer. Cook until done in the center. Okay, so for my cabbage steaks, I am going to spread this compound butter. And I am using doenjang and gochugaru. It's a Korean style compound butter that I love to use for a lot of things. So it starts with 1 stick of unsalted butter, and I'm just going to place that right into the bowl. It's softened, by the way. Now I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of doenjang. This is a Korean soybean paste. Some people, if you have miso, that works, but this is Korean style. Here I'm adding a tablespoon of gochugaru, and that is a Korean red pepper powder. It's like crushed powder form chili. It's so good. You can use it in kimchi and a lot of sauces and seasonings. Okay, here I'm adding dehydrated minced onion. You can use like the whites of scallions. This is what I'm testing out today. And I'm also going to grate 1 large garlic clove into the butter. And just with these ingredients makes a flavorful compound butter that I like to add into steamed rice, onto steak, and today I'm going to smear it on my cabbage steaks. It's so good. Just give that a really good mix, combine, and kind of whip it together. And you can put this in the fridge, you can separate it and freeze it for later use. But today, I'm going to use it right away for the cabbage. For the cabbage steaks, I am just going to slice rounds of cabbage. And you want to leave the core on, just slice right through it. You'll need a good sharp knife, a cutting board, and these are probably maybe 1 inch thick. And then just add on that compound butter on both sides. So I have them on my baking sheet, and I'm going to bake these alongside the chicken, but these are only going to take maybe 20-25 minutes or until you reach the desired doneness and tenderness of the cabbage. And I want to show you that you can do this in a skillet. Take a slice, add the compound butter. By the way, you can add whatever butter or seasoning or toppings you want to your cabbage steak. This is just what I'm doing today. And then I'm going to do one side, and what you're going to do is just place it right into the pan. And I have this kind of on a low heat setting. Now I'm going to take the rest of that compound butter and just smear it on this side, the side that's facing up. And then you just cook this. You kind of get a little bit of charring and saute both sides. And like I said earlier, you're going to cook to your desired doneness. Some people like cabbage to still have that crisp, crunchy texture. Some really like it to be cooked down. Okay, so once you're done spreading this, you're just going to cook on both sides. I like to add just maybe a tablespoon of water into the pan and then quickly cover with a lid or this and let it cook until it's done. Look at this. And you can plate this right up and serve. It's so good. Here are the baked ones. By the way, my kitchen smells amazing. I know this is only chicken and cabbage, but it's such a great combo. So for the firecracker sauce, I'm starting with scallion whites and a half cup of this buffalo sauce and some honey. Things are to taste around here, but I'll give you a good starting point. I'm also going to be adding crushed red pepper flakes, which is why I use a mild buffalo sauce. It lets you control the spice level to your dish. So a half cup of this going in, maybe a little more. Now for the honey, 2 to 3 tablespoons works, or less if you don't want that sweetness or too much sweetness. Here I had like a teaspoon left of crushed red pepper flakes, so it's going in and you give it a mix. You can also substitute the honey with just regular sugar or brown sugar. That also works, and you sweeten to preference. Now I'm going to glaze the chicken, and once you combine the sauce in the pan, let it simmer for a minute and it's ready. I'm going to continue to bake the chicken for another 10 to 15 minutes, and now it's time to serve everything once that's ready. If you're looking for some type of carb with this dish, steamed rice or fried rice also goes great. My husband's probably going to eat a side of white steamed rice from the rice cooker. The chicken is done, and like I said, it smells amazing. This firecracker chicken, there's so many ways to make it, but today I decided to go with a bake. And I'm glad I did because the weather is cooler and I like to bake things. And if you have a little more of that sauce, you can glaze it right before serving. It's so flavorful. And if you want it spicier, you can add a little bit of sliced jalapeno and more crushed red pepper flakes. But look, this chicken is cooked perfectly and I can't wait to dig in. So let me know in the comment section some of your favorite comfort food combos. I might like them as well, and who knows, I might recreate them. Dinner is served and it's time to dig in, and I want to show you how tender the chicken comes out, and just this combination of flavors is so, so good. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.